TV Tacoma proudly presents this special presentation.
TV Tacoma extends a huge thanks to our sponsors for making this coverage of touchdown time possible and for supporting the youth of our community. Thanks to Union 76, Puyallup Appliance and Mattress, and Tapco Credit Union.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Tacoma Dome. I'm Steve Thomas, along with Doug McArthur. It's the nightcap of Tacoma time, the roundup of this 2 days of football activity here. What a great way to celebrate football in the Tacoma-Pierce County area for the last 100 years. And tonight in the nightcap, it'll be the Wilson Rams and the North Kitsap Vikings, both teams out of the Narrows League. This should be an interesting matchup tonight, Doug. We look at a North Kitsap team that has one of the highly touted quarterbacks in the country in Jared Prince.
They're all looking at him, Steve. Jared Prince is something else. Jerry Parrish, the veteran coach at North Kitsap, and a great guy. He says, we do wings and things. And that's his offense. Wilson Rams have got a touchdown maker of their own. Robert Jackson ran 50 yards for a TD last week against Heritage. So this one could be a barn burner. Could be a wide open football game.
Should be a great football game. We look forward to it. And let's go down to the field now to our public address announcer, Bill Ogden, who has the starting lineups for Wilson and North Kitsap.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Tacoma Dome and touchdown time, a celebration of 100 years of high school football in Tacoma-Pierce County. Touchdown time thanks to Puyallup Tribe and the Emerald Queen Casino for support of this evening's events. A special thank you as well to the Robert Larson Automotive Group of Tacoma 5 and Puyallup. And they have provided you with free parking for all of our games. This is game number 2, and will feature the North Kitsap Vikings as they take on the Wilson Rams. Wilson will be the home team, and they will be wearing the dark uniforms. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's meet the players. For North Kitsap, number 2, Jarrell Smith. 12, Jordan Henry. 15, Cameron White. 17, Paul Stock. 18, Jared Prince. 22, Ray Spears. 23, Andy Sturza. 27, Jeff Camus. 29, Jonathan Berry. 31, Garen Dukes. 32, Stephen Jones. 34, Bubby Dittmer. 36, Brian Cleaver. 37, Josh Parmalee. 39, Jonathan Cordell. Number 40, Levi Pixton. 41, Jeff Otler. 43, Jamin DeCoto. 46, Ray Quintano. 59, Corey Stevens. 51, Joel Guido. 52, Wes Howerton. 53, Cordy Cundiff. 54, Todd Sand. 55, Jacob Snell. 56, Trevor Glebe. 58, Zach Chaussee. 57, Curtis Travelstead. 57 as well, Josh Holliday. 58, Jacob Luttrell. 59, Aaron Barnes. 61, Will Korst. 62, Joey Walker. 62, Aaron Salo. 63, Jordan Nakaya. 64, Nathan Bilbao. 65, Anthony Grossnickel. 65, Brian Lewis. 66, Aaron Melius. Again, 66, Emery Talon. 67 is Eric Esquivel. 68, Devin Gottschalk. 68, Paul Dorscher. 69 is Charlie Vanderhaaf. 72, Spencer Burns. 73, Josh Jones. And 73, Adam Flowater. 77, Andrew Hamry. 75 is Chris Richardson. 75, Josh Willis. 76, Aaron Jaycott. 77, Brock Tidball. And 77, Trevor Smith. 78, Jeremy Strickland. 78, Eric Rydeen. 80 is Johnny Helsing. 81, Derek Ade. And 81, Dak Congela. 82, Matt DeChantley. 82, Zach Webb. 83, Johnny Pariser. 84, Evan Henry. 85, Daniel Yee. 86, Travis Tobin. 87, Eric Hedin. and 92, Taylor Karstensen. The head coach is Jerry Parrish. Ladies and gentlemen, the North Kitsap Vikings. And now the Wilson High School Rams. Number 1, Anthony Alagi. 2, Derek Kung. 4, Alex Mekas. 5, Josh Gray. 8, Justin Bush. 10, Corey Mason. 11, Zach Jornland. 13, Andrew Puttis. 15, Jameel James. 17, Dominic Beasley. 19, Jonathan Wyndham. 21, Robert Jackson. 22, Jeremy Stojakovic. 23, Calvin James. 24, Ches Armstrong. 25, Drew Mainout. 26, Chris White. 28, Tyson Lewis. 29, Justin Baker. 30, Jeff Young. 32, Andrew George. 33, Nathan Tillman. 34, Ian Ellis. 40, Sergio Beltran. 42, Nathan Marzano. 44, Andrew Cogden. 48, Devon Gaines. 53, Brian Young. 54, C.J. Peterson. 55, Mike McClellan. 56, Justin Curty. 58, Anthony Wiggins. 59, Marcel Crosby. 62, Adam Green. 63, A.J. Eilert. 64, Jordan Jansen. 65, Robbie League. 67, Josh Hudak. 68, Zach Torres. 69, Leroy 70 is Brad Malcolm Bolt. 71, Chad Carter. 72, Sean Wilson. 74 is Todd Gallant. 75, Mark McClements. 76, Eric Torgerson. 78, Richard Anderson. 80, Sean McGinnis. 82, Brandon Asen. 84, Kerry Farah. 88, Marcus Noble. 90, Matt Stroop. 96, Frankie Great. And 98, Colin Warwick. Don Clegg, the head coach, and ladies and gentlemen, the Wilson High School Rams. And now, if the players will please cross the field and shake hands, there is no Pledge of Allegiance or national anthem, as this is the second game. So, gentlemen, have a good football game. Ladies and gentlemen, we're glad you're here. The referee is Darren Nelson. The umpire, Gleason Johnson. Line judge, Kevin Eads, or Eds, rather. The linesman, Tom Labriola, and Johnny West is the back judge. Our thanks to them for working tonight's game, and our thanks to you for being here.
And Steve Thomas, Doug McArthur back with you high up above here at the Tacoma Dome as you see the Wilson Rams putting their hands together and a little cheer before they get started tonight. Wilson and North Kitsap both started their seasons last weekend. The Wilson High School Rams lost to Heritage 28-6, and North Kitsap was a loser in a wild overtime game to Bainbridge by a score of 44-41.
In that contest, Steve, the North Kitsap quarterback Jared Prince threw 5 touchdown passes. I would look for the ball to be in the air a bit tonight.
Yeah, Jerry Parrish told me during the week that he thought, gee, if you score 41 points, that's usually going to be enough to win a football game. But in this case, not quite enough last week against Bainbridge. And it's going to be quite a divisional race they have coming up this year. And North Kitsap is certainly one of the contenders coming off a 7-3 season. They went to the playoffs a year ago. And they have another big game coming up next week when they take on Gig Harbor, a team that's kind of considered the favorite in their division.
And another fine quarterback in Matt Shearer out at Gig Harbor. The major schools are all looking at Shearer and Prince, so that's going to be full of scouts.
They'll have a full boat there of scouts looking at those two guys next week.
North Kitsap's in the white jerseys with the gold and blue trim. I guess that's actually purple and gold, but it's a white jersey, that's for sure. And the Rams are all red with navy and white trim.
You see a couple of the Vikings captains there. Jacob Snell, number 55, and number 77, who is Andrew Hamry.
And that's Darren Nelson, the referee, who sorts things out as we're headed for the opening kickoff.
And it will be the Vikings of North Kitsap to receive. Down to our left, Wilson will be kicking it off, and we'll be underway with this nightcap. It's been 2 days of not only great football action, but certainly the festivities that surrounded this event this year with the great luncheon earlier this week. In fact, Don Clegg, the coach of Wilson, was one of those honored earlier this week for his 100 victories as a head football coach.
Yeah, he'd like to make it 101 tonight. We had 410 people at that luncheon on Thursday, so it was really a gala occasion. And we honored some great teams of the past, 10 championship teams out of Tacoma Pierce County. Steve, it was kind of catch-up. We looked at honoring as many as we could, and that took us up to 1950. So every year from now on, we're going to honor a batch out of a decade. Next year it'll be the 1950s, and you remember some great teams in the 50s in Tacoma Pierce County.
And just watching here the earlier game that we had on TV Tacoma, and some of the names that were flashed on the scoreboard here among those great players of the past from each of the high schools in the area. And there were so many great names up there, and one of them that caught my eye, of course, is the guy who's going to be debuting as head coach tomorrow afternoon down at Pacific Lutheran University, Scott Westering, who was such a great high school player at Washington High School before he went on to play, of course, at Pacific Lutheran under his legendary father, Frosty Westering.
He had to stop at UCLA along the way, too.
And here's our kickoff, a low line drive. It'll come down to the 10-yard line and up to the 20-25 to about the 30-yard line, and breaking through a couple of tackles and getting up to about the 34-yard line is Travis Tobin on the return. So it'll be North Kitsap to start offensively. We talked about Jared Prince. He threw for 2,000 yards a year ago and 21 touchdowns. And a good-sized young man at 6'3" and 200 pounds. And Tobin will be one of those guys that he'll be looking for tonight. Tobin, as a matter of fact, had a couple of touchdown receptions last week against Bainbridge. And they go, as Doug mentioned a little bit earlier this evening, with the offense known as wings and things, with 4 wide receivers out there and the man in motion. And here's Prince rolling to his right and looking to throw. He's going to keep it instead, breaks a tackle, cuts back at the 30 to the 35-40 and down the sidelines, and finally knocked out of bounds. Jared Prince showing some maneuverability, some ability to escape the pocket there, and scrambling for a pickup of about 15 yards.
Nathan Tillman managed to shove him out of bounds, but we've already found out he can run.
He really made a nice move to get away from a tackler in the pocket and then stretched it to the far sideline to pick up the first down. And again, a couple of wide receivers to either side. Tobin to the near side right. Back to throw, giving on the draw this time to his fullback, Jeff Camus, who busts it right up the middle to about midfield, a pickup of a couple of yards. Camus picks up 2. He's a senior, 6 feet even, 176 pounds.
I was going to try to pick a tackler out for you, Steve, but no do on that one. He had lots of company.
And one of the leaders of that Wilson defense is Sergio Beltran. You see him there.
Sounds like a center fielder, doesn't it?
He does. And again, the 4 wide receivers for the Vikings with a single running back. And Prince gives up the middle, busting in his Camus to the 45, down to the 40-yard line before he's finally dragged down. Jeff Camus has another first down as he picks up 10. And North Kitsap move with the football. Their second consecutive first down, and a 1st and 10 now at the Wilson 40.
Calvin James hanging on for the Wilson Rams.
to catch some of those big guys up front for North Kitsap. Joel Guido at one tackle spot, 6'2", 220, a junior. Curtis Travelstead, a senior at 185 pounds at one guard. Rock Tidball is the senior center, 264 pounds. Jacob Snell, a guard at 228, and Todd Sand, the other tackle, at 250 pounds. Here's Prince with a short drop, and they've got him this time. They're going to drag him down for a loss of about a yard. Andrew Cogden, the linebacker, in there quickly to make the tackle on Jared Prince and bring him down for a loss of about a yard. Attacked by Prince, and the wide receivers. Tobin is one of them. Andy Sturza is another guy we'll see a lot of tonight. Sturza is a 182-pound senior who not only caught a pair of touchdown passes last week, but also ran 35 yards for another score against Bainbridge. Here's the quick snap and the flip out to the sideline. Got a man out there, breaks to the 35 and down to the 32-yard line. That's Jordan Henry, a senior wide receiver, and he picks up about 9 yards.
Gerald Smith hanging on there for Wilson.
Again, a quick, wide-open attack. As Jerry Parrish would say, as long as you got a cannon at quarterback, you might have to fire that thing off occasionally, and he certainly got a cannon arm, does Jared Prince, and has led his team down to the Wilson 31-yard line now, or just make a third down and about a yard. Prince again, the short drop, and he's hit as he throws this time, and it's incomplete. Intended out there for Travis Tobin, and the pass just underthrown. Out on the coverage that time defensively for the Wilson Rams was Calvin James.
I think we got a penalty on James holding him up there. I think it's going to be a pass interference call.
And again, our referee, Darren Nelson, conferring. And it is a hold against Wilson. That will give North Kitsap a first down. As they'll spot that football inside the 30-yard line now. First drive of the football game with North Kitsap on the move.
I can tell already that the threat of the pass is as great as the pass itself here with these Vikings, because Wilson's really geared up to stop that passing attack.
And they step it off from the previous line of scrimmage, which was the 31-yard line, so it'll go down to the 21-yard line. And there it'll be first down and 10 for North Kitsap. One of the guys you'll see up front defensively for Wilson is Todd Gallant, considered one of the outstanding big players on the interior line, both offensively and defensively. A junior, 280 pounds. Here's Prince giving off the left-hand side and breaking a tackle inside the 15 and down to about the 13-yard line on the carry for North Kitsap. That time was Andy Sturza. In on the stop for Wilson was Mike McClellan, a junior at 6 foot of 175 pounds. So the Vikings again, great first down yardage, second down and less than 2 with a football inside the 13-yard line. Henry goes to the left. Tobin to the right. Here's Prince giving off the right-hand side and diving inside the 10-yard line is Camus, and he's got the first down.
I've got 18 yards and 3 carries for Camus so far, so the threat of the pass hanging over the Rams of Wilson, why the Vikings are taking it to him on the ground.
Jordan Henry relaying the play in there to Jared Prince for North Kitsap, so first down and goal, I believe, is they're right at that 10-yard line. They go with 3 wide receivers to the left now as Prince goes to the shotgun. And he's going to roll to his left, looking out there and throwing, and got his man. And banging down to about the 2-yard line is Sturza before he's finally wrestled out of bounds. Sturza on the reception, and he'll pick up about 8.
Rams are clicking. The Vikings are clicking, I should say, and the Rams are hanging on.
Wilson defensively trying to dig in right here as it's second down and goal from just outside the 2-yard line. Tobin goes to the right. along with Sturza. Now Sturza in motion as they give right up the middle, and it's a touchdown. North Kitsap taking it in. Jeff Camus, the senior fullback. And North Kitsap on the board as they take the opening drive and punch it in for 6.
Well, he was greeted by 2 Rams at the goal line, but he's been a busy guy offensively in this drive. There you see Jeff Camus, number 27. Jeff's a 6 foot, 176-pound senior, and he provides the run.
Jeff Oddly with the point after touchdown on the way and good. And North Kitsap jumps on top by a score of 7-0. So they take that opening drive and take it down the field. Prince alternating some good throwing with some timely running by Camus, and he gets the touchdown run of just over 2 yards, and the Vikings are quickly on top here.
North Kitsap has the reputation as a pass-happy team, but they only threw 3 times in that drive, and again, that threat of the pass hung over the Wilson Rams most of the way.
So the Rams will have their first opportunity on offense now. You see them down below us in the red jerseys as they get set to bring their return unit onto the field and then their offensive unit. Wilson, a team that won their divisional crown in 1998 and in 2000. They won the Narrows division that they play in both of those years, but a little bit of a disappointment last year. They went 2-7 and struggled a little bit, and they have a very, very young team again this year, led mostly by those interior linemen we talked about, including Todd Gallant and Anthony Wiggins.
The Rams have been here before, playing in the state championship game a few years back with Larry Stevens and one Marcus Trufant leading the way. So Don Clegg's had some success.
And here is Jeff Oddly to kick it off, and he hits a line drive bouncer to the 20-yard line. And reversing his field with the football is Derek Tung, who gets by one man, 25 to the sideline, 30, 35. And Tung is finally knocked out of bounds near the 40-yard line. So Derek Tung, a nice return. Looked like he was surrounded for a moment, then turned on the speed to the outside to his right and brings it up near the 39-yard line.
The Rams have a big offensive line. We're going to be interested to see how they can do, because there's some speed burners in that backfield. Tung's already given you one example, and Robert Jackson is somebody to watch for at a running back position.
Jackson had over 100 yards running against Heritage last week.
He got 50 in one big gasp, right?
He did indeed. 10 carries for 101 yards and that 50-yard touchdown. And here's Zach Tomlin, their quarterback, giving off the left-hand side and getting to about the 40-yard line, and then wrestled down on the carry was Calvin James. Kind of a flanker back around that time as they bring James from the wing-back spot, and he circles from right to left and picks up a couple of yards.
North Kitsap's got a lot of duplicate numbers in there. We're going to have to keep track of people. But number 77, who is 3 listings under his name. So we're going to choose the one that makes the most sense right now and say it was Brock Tidball.
2nd down and 8 as Tomlin, the junior quarterback, looks it over with eye backs behind him. Tomlin got to give on the draw and breaking one tackle, getting the outside of the 40 to the 45-yard line with the football is Robert Jackson. Doug mentioned him just a moment ago, showing good speed, breaking away from a tackle and getting to the 47-yard line. So that'll be a pickup of about 6. It's going to leave Wilson with a 3rd down and 2 from the 47-yard line. Talking about those big guys up front. Todd Gallant, 6'4", 280, a junior at one tackle spot. Anthony Wiggins at the other tackle position, 6'2" and 255. Richard Anderson, a sophomore at 270 pounds, also part of that front wall for the Wilson Rams. 3rd down and short here, 3rd down and 2. Jomlin gives to Jackson off the right-hand side and gets to the 45, cuts back to midfield, and he's got the 1st down into Viking territory at the North Kitsap 47-yard line.
Jeff Otley's the guy who brought him down for North Kitsap. He's a 210-pound junior and a linebacker for the Vikings.
And a couple of substitutes coming in there for Wilson now. Back into the game is Calvin James. And also checking into the contest for Wilson is Josh Gray, a wide receiver. So Wilson with the 1st and 10. Now they'll have it at the North Kitsap 47-yard line. Wide side of the field left. And they give to Jackson, who busts it right up the middle inside the 45-yard line. Brought down at about the 42-yard line. Making the tackle is Andy Sturza of North Kitsap, as Jackson will pick up about 5 on that carry right up the middle.
What we've seen of Jackson so far, who has 20 yards and 3 carries, is the threat of speed. He looks quick.
He does indeed. Again, they send Derek Tung wide to the right. And the single back set with slot men on either side. And they give to the big fullback who bangs it inside. That's Andrew Congdon, the senior 200-pounder. And he's got the first down for Wilson at the North Kitsap 36-yard line. So the Rams, boy, tit for tat here to begin. North Kitsap takes it the length of the field, and the Rams, not to be outdone, moving it very effectively all on the ground themselves here in their drive.
Mr. Inside is Andrew Congdon and Mr. Outside Robert Jackson, and I think we're going to see a lot of those two here as the Wilson offense unfolds tonight.
Wide receivers Tung and Gray go to the left. High backs behind Jomlin from the North Kitsap 36. And they're going to give to Tung off the right-hand side, and this time he's caught behind the line, dragged down for really no gain on the play. And it was Jeff Ottley making the tackle along with Tidball that time.
You picked him out of those 377s also. Well, I picked him out because he's the biggest at 264, and I didn't want him looking for me after the telecast.
A big guy indeed. Ottley and Tidball both part of that defensive line for the Vikings of North Kitsap. 2nd down and 11 now. Jomlin, not a real tall quarterback, 5'7", 140. But he handles the football well, and here he gives off the left-hand side once again. This time it's Calvin James. And James will get down near the 40-yard line, maybe a pickup of about a yard. But the Vikings stiffening up right here. It'll be 3rd down and about 10.
Gerald Smith on that tackle that time for North Kitsap, and they're getting the Viking defense kind of spread out. They're doing a good job on the wide plays. Look for Wilson to come back up the middle here. Maybe some kind of a delay.
To the left goes Josh Gray, and wide to the right goes Derek Tung. Congdon is the single setback. They send a man in motion. And back to throw is Jomlin. Rolling to his right and throwing. Got a man down there. Caught my tongue at the 25. Reversing his field. Breaks a tackle. He's down to the 20-yard line. Cuts back. Tongue to the 15. And finally knocked off his feet at the 14-yard line. Boy, Derek Tung showing the ability to really get away from people downfield that time. A great run after the catch and a big first down.
The guy who got him was Jeff Camus, who knows a little bit about running himself.
So Wilson keeps the drive alive on 3rd down and 10. They pick up the yardage and move the 1st and 10 stakes down to the 14-yard line. North Kitsap leading, and here's 7-0 with 3 minutes and 10 seconds left to go in this first quarter. And once again, they go to I-backs behind Jomlin. Zach looking it over. Going to give inside this time. And that is Jackson once again, showing that in addition to his speed outside, he's able to run up inside the tackles as well, and brings it down to the North Kitsap 7-yard line.
And the Rams moving down to the 7-yard line.
Well, in 4 carries, he's averaging right around 7 yards a crack, and that's a pretty good indication right there. He can go inside, outside. It's just plain quickness, Steve.
So 2nd down, they need to reach just inside the 5-yard line for a Wilson first down. Just one wide receiver off far to the right this time, and the I-backs once again. Jomlin going to give up inside, and diving down inside the 5-yard line for Wilson is Sergio Beltran. And he'll be close to a first down, maybe just short. Looks like he's about a half a yard short, right at the 5-yard line. It'll be third down and that much for the Rams. Calvin James comes back into the game, along with Josh Gray for Wilson on a big third down play. Also coming in there at the last moment was Justin Bush, who lines up as a tight end on the left, and now they're going to call a timeout.
I think they got too many men on the field. That last-minute substitution. And give the credit to quarterback Zach Jomlin, Steve, for being alert enough to spot that and not cost his team. I've been impressed with the way he's handling the Wilson attack. He's very calm and collected out there. And he's a little guy, but he looks like a good player.
And the Rams, who kind of got off to a slow start last week, seem to be moving well offensively with the football here in their first drive. North Kitsap behind Jared Prince, leading his team down, and then giving way on the running play from Camus to get the touchdown. But Wilson's come right back, and some nice plays from Robert Jackson and from Derek Tung and some others there, in addition to Andrew Cogden running up the middle, and they brought it right back down the field and looking for the equalizer here with 1:25 to go in the first quarter, with North Kitsap on top 7-0.
Last week's game, North Kitsap and Bainbridge might have been an indication. They are high-powered offensively, but they gave up a lot of points.
They did indeed. And I'll try to close down the Rams here if they can. Third down, and less than a yard right at the North Kitsap 5-yard line. Wilson with Beltran lining up as the fullback, and Jackson the tailback behind Jomlin. And they're going to give to Jackson off the left-hand side, cuts it inside the 5-yard line, has the first down. First down and goal for Jackson as he picks up about 4. North Kitsap's Travis Tobin making the tackle, but Jackson gets down just outside the 1. First down and goal, Wilson.
That was a score-saving tackle. I'll tell you, Jackson's cut was quick. He's a squirter in there, I'll tell you.
Smart move there, cutting behind his blocker on the left and going behind that block for the needed yardage to get the first and 10, or first and goal in this case, just outside the 1-yard line. Same formation. Jackson the tailback. They give to him off the right-hand side and nowhere to go this time. Vikings really closed it down inside. Tidball was one of the guys there initially, right at the 1-yard line, so virtually no gain on that play.
A lot of white shirts, and I pick out Andy Sturzer right now because he was at the bottom of that stack, but he had help.
So second down. As checking into the game for North Kitsap for the first time is Will Korst. As an extra down lineman here, they try to go with some extra beef up front, and that interior defensive line to shut things down. Only 15 seconds left to go in this first quarter. Second down and goal, Wilson. Jomlin gives to Jackson off the right side, and he is denied once again. Jacob Snell was there. Also there for the Vikings was Jared Prince, who does a good job on offense throwing the football and wrapping up ball carriers on the defensive end. He did right there as Jackson got about a yard. It's going to bring up a third down and goal from outside the 1.
Kind of unusual to see that quarterback playing defense in all of football, but in high school it happens regularly. And in our first game tonight, West Valley and Steilacoom, the defensive stars, at least 2 of them of the game, were the rival quarterbacks.
I tell you, you got to respect the kids too, who can go both ways and play that many minutes of football too, and try to still have a lot of energy left at the end of the game. That is not an easy thing to do, even when you're playing on one side of the football.
Well, we had 410 old-timers at our luncheon the other day who would tell you, that two-way football, they don't play it anymore. We used to play it that way all the time. Yeah, with leather helmets too.
Tell you what, and they knew how to play it, believe me.
Yeah, they did. There were some great stories. Kapowson back in 1940 had an undefeated season. There were just 3 of their players left to attend the meeting. They told me afterwards, and they talked about how successful their season had been, and they were undefeated. And he said, what our opponents didn't know is we only had a 90-yard field at Kapowski. They'd kept that secret all those years. That was 1940, Steve.
Oh. Well, we start the second quarter of this one, and believe me, this has been an outstanding event. Getting its start this year. Tacoma Pierce County football, 100 years, celebrating the old timers and the new greats of the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, and then having 4 great ball games, 2 last night and 2 tonight.
Yeah, it's been fun, and I'm going to tell you one more Kapowski story later, so you ask me about it.
All right. Jomblin again at quarterback with Beltran in there, and the snap from center fumbled, and we have a whistle and a stoppage of play by Darren Nelson, our referee.
You know, that ball was loose, Steve, but it never was fumbled because the quarterback never even had his hands on it. It just went straight across the turf.
And it is a procedure call against Wilson, so that'll cost him 5 yards. And we'll bring it back outside the 6-yard line. And there will be 3rd down and goal. So the Rams have moved it very effectively. Trying to keep it going right here, getting bottled up, and then the 5-yard penalty. 3rd down as they go to a couple of wide receivers to the left-hand side of the field. Jomblin looks and throws, flares it out there, got it complete. And boy, just belted down out there is Jackson. He really got nailed.
It looked like Tidwell, and Sturgis in on that play. Andy Sturza, I think, in on that play.
So a little swing pass from Jomblin to Robert Jackson, hoping they could spring him to the outside, but no go there. And now it's going to be 4th down and goal from the 5-yard line.
I want to give credit where it's due. That was number 27, Camus.
So Camus is the guy who got the tackle there on Jackson. And the Rams here going to go for it, try to get the equalizer on 4th down and goal from the 5-yard line.
Makings of a goal line stand here.
Beltran and Jackson, the running backs. Jomblin pitches to Jackson. He might throw the football. He does. Lobs it in the end zone and overthrew his receiver out there, incomplete. He had Calvin James, appeared to be open in the right-hand corner of the end zone, but that one just floated a little bit too far.
It looked like a sure Wilson touchdown earlier when they were down to the 1, and it looked like a sure touchdown 4 plays later when they were wide open in the end zone with their receiver, but 'twas not to be.
So the Rams turn it over at 4th down, and North Kitsap will take over as the Vikings lead it here by a score of 7-0.
With help from a penalty, that's a pretty good defensive stand by North Kitsap.
Was indeed. It was going to be a 3rd down and 1. It ends up being 3rd and 6, then 4th and 6 with a 5-yard penalty, and North Kitsap holds on. Here's Prince, a look in throw, incomplete that time. Intended out there for Jordan Henry, his junior wide receiver. That one off his fingertips.
Calvin James there to play defense on the play for Wilson, and they had pretty good coverage. I guess that tells you a little bit about North Kitsap, though. They don't worry about whether they're at the 5-yard line or the 50. They're going to throw it when necessary.
They have the wide receivers to do just that. Talked a little bit about Sturza. He's also the guy that's kind of done a good job running the football for them. Here it's Camus who tries to break to his left, and he's got no place to go. He's just overrun by Red that time as the Rams were waiting for him. And one of the first there was Anthony Wiggins, a big 255-pounder, to make the tackle on Camus back at the 2-yard line.
Calvin James around the ball again, too, but there were 4 Rams ready.
Talk about Sturza, who had 3 touchdowns last week. He also has been their leading ball carrier from last year. Ran for about 500 yards on the ground, did Sturza. So 3rd down coming up here. 3rd down and 13 for the Rams now. For North Kitsap, backed up at their own 2-yard line. Prince takes a snap and catches it with one hand, stepping up in the pocket. He got away from one Ram, but then slips down at about the 4-yard line. I'll tell you what, that very well could have been a safety as the center who is Tidball, snapped the football, I think, before Jared Prince was ready. He reached out and fortunately grabbed that one with one hand and brought it in.
Looked like Prince was barking signals and kind of checking his receivers, and bingo, the ball snapped.
And so it's going to be 4th down now for North Kitsap.
Illegal procedure penalty against the Vikings, Steve, while we were yakking here. And I think Wilson accepted the penalty.
They are going to decline, and so it will be a 4th down, and North Kitsap will be punting from their own end zone. At least they will in a moment anyway. But first of all, the Vikings are going to take a timeout. And Jerry Parrish is going to bring his club over to the sidelines to have a little chat here about how they want to get this ball deep out of their own territory on the 4th down punt.
Jerry, one of the deans of coaches in the Washington State coaching fraternity. And he's been at North Kitsap for a lot of years now. Always a great gentleman and doing a great job. I've been impressed with this game. This is a good one.
It has been a good one, and by all intents, probably should be in 7-7 ball game right now, but Wilson got stalled deep in North Kitsap territory on that 3rd down and 1 for a touchdown. Came up with a penalty that put them back at the 6-yard line, and they failed to capitalize and had an opportunity even on 4th down, but a pass play overshooting the hands of an open receiver in Calvin James. So North Kitsap gets the football back, but they're stalled for the first time tonight offensively. And they'll be forced to kick it away back to Wilson, and the Rams should have good field position here.
Both teams have had nice drives, and it is a very even.
And it's going to be Camus standing about 8 yards deep in the end zone. Derek Tung waits for Wilson at midfield. And he's going to move up from that midfield position up around to North Kitsap 40-yard line or thereabouts. As the line of scrimmage is right at the North Kitsap 5. Here's Camus with the kick. High spiral. Comes down to Tung, who backpedals to the 46-yard line. Breaks it to his right. Looking for some running room. Can't find it. He's going to reverse his field, go the other way, and he's got some room there. 45-40, 35-30. Tung to the 25 and knocked out of bounds. Well, Doug, you mentioned it earlier. Speed kills, and boy, Derek Tung that time looked like he was going to be shut off at the near sideline and caught for a loss. Reversed his field and ends up picking up about 22 yards on the punt return.
I'd like to give credit on the play to the right guy, but it was either 23 Calvin James or 33 Nathan Tillman. I couldn't catch the number, but he made a great block to start him off. He went back downfield and made another block, and that really helped as the Rams have got fine team speed, no question about it. Big size up front, lots of speed in the backfield. They could become a good one before the year's out.
Great second effort there on the part of blockers and of Tung. It's 1st and 10 for Wilson now. And they give to this third man through, and boy, that one is shut down completely. No place at all to go for Calvin James. Again, they kind of swing that wide receiver back to a running back position occasionally, bring him around. But there wasn't any place to go as he is dropped back at the 26-yard line for a loss of a yard.
Brock Tidball is playing a fine defensive game. He was right in the middle of that one.
Other members of that defensive front four for North Kitsap are Joel Guido, a junior, Todd Sand, a senior at 250 pounds, and Jeff Ottley, a defensive end. Well, 2nd down for the Rams here at the 26-yard line. And Jomlin back to throw, looks to his right and fires out there. Got it complete. That's Calvin James, who's on the reception. James brought down at about the 23-yard line. Pickup of a couple.
Pretty good defensive play by Ray Quintano that time. He allowed the catch, but he timed his hit perfectly, and Jackson, who's elusive, couldn't get free.
We'll bring up 3rd down for the Rams as they're at the 23-yard line of North Kitsap.
Wilson's been moving it well.
Josh Gray goes out wide to the left. There's the quarterback, Zach Jomlin, looking things over. He's got Andrew Congdon, his fine running back, behind him. Jomlin straight back, gets pressure, rolling to his right now, and throwing up the sideline, and it is incomplete. Catching the football but out of bounds is Jeremy Stojakovic.
That was a pretty good catch, Steve. He didn't know he was out of bounds. He had his eyes on the football, but he did a good job. And also, Gerald Smith, number 2, did a good job by pinning him against that sideline, and he wasn't going to let him catch it inbounds.
Stojakovic just out of bounds, so it is an incompleted pass, and 4th down coming up. And the Rams, who earlier went for it, we'll see whether they do the same here on 4th down and about 8.
Sure, 23-yard line. Give it a go.
Yep. Too long, really, for a field goal try. So Jomlin will bring him up. He's going to send Calvin James out to the right, along with Robert Jackson. Condon will be the only running back. Jomlin drops and rolls to his left this time. Getting chased, lobbing out there, and it's batted up in the air and incomplete. Nice play defensively by Jared Prince, who was out in the corner on the coverage. And I believe that was Tung he was covering, and Jared made a nice play.
He's no quarterback, he's a cornerback.
He doubles as a defensive back and looks just as impressive there as he knocked it away from Derek Tung. And so Wilson is denied on 4th down, and North Kitsap takes the football.
Pass not thrown as crisply, I think, as Wilson would like on that play, but the quarterback running to his left and getting quite a bit of pressure on the play. That's a tough toss.
North Kitsap took the opening drive of the football game and took it in all the way, and a touchdown run by Jeff Camus, and they lead it 7-0 here, so we're midway through the second quarter. Here's the give right up the middle. Fumble the football, and getting it back is the running back. And that was Camus, who lost the handle on the football, fortunate to get it back.
As 27, Jeff Cameron falls on the football.
Actually ended up picking up a yard or 2 on the recovered fumble up near the 25-yard line, so it'll be 2nd down and 8 from there.
We've got only a 7-0 ball game, but this one feels like it's 21-20 or so.
Seen a lot of action early in this one. It's been exciting. Here's Prince lobbing up the left sideline, and it's going to be caught out of bounds, incomplete. Intended for Jordan Henry, who made a nice catch, but he was a couple of yards out of bounds when he finally came down with the football.
Calvin James did a good defensive job on the play. He actually ran him out of bounds about 10 yards further back downfield. So if he'd have caught that ball inbounds, never would have been good. He'd have had to come back in to get it.
Nice defensive play there. And Henry forced out of bounds to try and make the catch. Incomplete. 3rd down and 8 for the Vikings from their 25.
Makes it 3rd and 8 from the 25.
Jordan Prince with Camus behind him. Fakes. And going to roll to his right. He's going to lob it long up the right sideline. Got a man out there, overshot him, incomplete. Pass intended out there that time for Andy Sturza. But Prince really showing that, boy, on the run, he can still rocket that thing a good 40 yards.
Robert Jackson was back there defensively. There is Robert right on your screen. I would say that that's proof of the arm, right?
Definitely is, but Wilson doing a nice job defensively once again. They'll get the football back as Camus will punt it from right around his own 15-yard line. And again, the ever-dangerous Derek Tung standing back there for Wilson. Here's the kick, a wobbly kick comes down to Tung, who fumbles the football, and it's recovered immediately by North Kitsap. Ray Quintano is right there to pick it up on a bounce, and the Vikings have a big turnover.
Give Gerald Smith credit for getting that ball loose. He had great position. He was under that punt, and it was going to be disaster either way because he was readying his blow.
Well, Tung that time looked like he wanted to be off to the races once again, looking for some running room, but lost the handle on the punt and muffing it. It comes off to Quintano, and North Kitsap gets it on the turnover at the Wilson 39-yard line. Here's Prince looking to his right and throwing. Got it complete out there. Catch made by Tobin, who jitterbugs around inside the 30 and then is finally dropped there.
Pretty determined effort by Tobin that time. There were red shirts all around.
And Travis picks up about 9 on the reception. It'll be 2nd down and a yard now just inside the 30-yard line. As the Vikings with new life after being stopped a couple of times deep in their own territory and having to punt Wilson not able to capitalize. And the Rams giving it up on the turnover on the punt just a moment ago. And the Vikings here second down and short. They give up inside. That's Camus. And he has the first down as he battles hard to about the 23-yard line. Check that, not Camus that time, but with the football was Sturza. Andy Sturza on the run, picking up about 6.
Chad Carter of Wilson, a 230-pound junior defensive lineman, was the guy who held on there for the tackle.
Camus back in there as the single setback now, and he gets the carry off the right-hand side and brought down after he gets about a yard, and that's about all. Defensively making the tackle for the Rams was Chad Carter, a junior defensive lineman, 230-pounder.
He went unblocked on that play, and there just was no opening at all for the Vikings. Except for a couple of mistakes by Wilson. This has been a very tough and well-played game.
Second down here for North Kitsap. Rams have been tough on defense. They give to Sturza, and check that, it's Prince who keeps it. They faked the Sturza up inside, and Jared Prince kept the football and got a yard or two at the most, down to about the 21 or 22-yard line. It's going to bring up a big third down play here for the Vikings.
Rams had a blitz on that time, and I think if he'd given the ball to Sturza, he'd popped into that secondary. There'd have been a pretty good-sized gain.
Third down and about 7 here for North Kitsap at the Wilson 21. Again, the 4 wide receivers, 2 slot men. Man in motion. Here's Prince tossing to Camus. Fumbles the football, and he's going to be dropped back at the 24-yard line. Camus went to a knee to finally get a hold of the football, and of course that brings the play to a whistle and a close, and now it's 4th down and about 11 for North Kitsap, and they've got a decision to make. Let's see what they're going to do.
Carter was the man there to see that he went no further, but you know, we're playing inside, Steve, and the ball's been on the turf quite a bit. Yeah, you could blame the rain if we were outside, but not so.
So Sturza is the single setback with 4 wide receivers. And here's Prince rolling left and lobbing in the end zone. Got a man caught for a touchdown. That's Jordan Henry, who makes the grab about 3 yards deep in the left corner of the end zone. And the Vikings on a big 4th down play capitalized not only with the first down yardage, but the touchdown.
Nicely thrown ball. Jared Prince living up to his reputation, that's for sure.
And that one covering about 20 yards. Prince to Jordan Henry, the junior. And that puts the Vikings on top 13-0. Here's Ottley to try the extra point on the way and good. So the Vikings capitalize there off the muff punt by Wilson. They get the drive, taking it in on a 4th down and 11 as Prince hits Jordan Henry for the touchdown, and the Vikings now up 14-0.
Well, that 2-touchdown deficit could take a lot out of the Wilson Rams, but I'd say this is the series in the game that is perhaps their biggest series. It certainly is to date, but it might be a complete turning point here. They need to move that football and get back in it. They've shown signs, but they've just made a couple of critical mistakes, and it's cost them. They trail by 14.
Wilson has had some opportunities. They failed on 4th down deep in North Kitsap territory, and then of course, fumbled a punt, which gave the Vikings the football back and has helped North Kitsap to this 2-touchdown lead. So the Rams in their brilliant red uniforms will have it down to our left and try to get things going here as we're 3 minutes and 41 seconds prior to intermission here at the Tacoma Dome.
Red hasn't been the color to wear tonight. Stellicum wore red and got beat 39-0 by West Valley of Yakima on our opener, and now the Wilson Rams are trailing 14-0. So Nebraska's Cornhuskers ought to be here.
Here's Jeff Hodley's kickoff, and this one is going to go out of bounds.
Well, the Rams are going to get good field position without any return, and they need to make a move.
And a penalty. against North Kitsap. They give Wilson the football. And the Rams will start at their own 35-yard line. As Doug mentioned earlier, their junior quarterback, Zach Jomlin, not a big one by any means. He's only about 140, 145 pounds, but did show a lot of poise out there the first couple of quarters here. And has led his ball club to a couple of good drives. They just haven't been able to dent the scoreboard yet tonight. Jomlin gives right up inside, and breaking across the 40-yard line is Sergio Beltran. That's a pickup of 6. And again, he follows those big guys up front. Gallant, who's a 280-pounder, and Wiggins at 255. Richard Anderson at 270. And center Chad Carter, 230 pounds. They have a lot of size and some real fine athletes up front, do the Rams.
Second and 4 from the 41-yard line.
I-backs behind Jomlin on second down from the 41-yard line, almost drawing a Viking player offside, and I think he did.
Flag on the field.
Looked like the Vikings, Devin Gottschalk, had a little bit of an early start there across the line of scrimmage. Offside against North Kitsap, and that'll give Wilson a first down.
They caught him leaning, and he just couldn't get back.
Well, they step it off to the 46-yard line. Rams will have it first down at 10.
They're fighting the clock a little bit now, too, Steve, with 2:54 to go and running. We're in the first half, though, but Wilson needs to change momentum a little bit.
Robert Jackson, the tailback in their I backfield. Run the ball well in this first half. And Jackson gets the carry here off the right-hand side. Breaks the tackle, 50, 45, 40 down the sidelines. He might go. 25, 20, 15, 10. He's on his way. Touchdown. Robert Jackson, Wilson Rams, and they get their first score of the night.
And momentum changes.
Boy, just that quickly. We were talking about maybe the Rams were going to be struggling against the clock, and Jackson rips off a run there of some 56 yards for a touchdown.
I didn't see last week's game, but I know Jackson ran 50 for one score against Heritage, and I wouldn't be surprised if that was the play.
Showed excellent speed down the sidelines, outlegging a couple of final defenders at about the 15-yard line to take it in.
He had good blocking at the line of scrimmage, but after that, it was all Jackson.
And the point after try on the way, up and good by Andrew Pudist. And just like that, the Rams have cut that North Kitsap lead in half at 14-7. So the Rams, really a big momentum play right there. They looked like the life had gone out of them just a little bit after the muff punt and North Kitsap punching in their second touchdown. But Wilson comes right back. And on Jackson's electrifying run down the sidelines, they get on the board for the first time tonight. And it's going to be a good ball game, it looks like, throughout it. And Wilson's right back in it.
I think the key is that Wilson didn't let the air go out of their balloon, so to speak, at that point. And they did fight back. And, of course, that's typical of the great high school teams that we've been watching. All of the kids playing their hardest, playing their best at all times. But with that 14-0 deficit and a couple of big mistakes, a lot of teams wouldn't have come bouncing back like that.
I've got to admit, I've kind of envied you this week, Doug, in the fact that you've had a chance to visit with a lot of the old-timers who were great high school players in their day. And I know they've shared a lot of great stories with you, and that's really fun to kind of catch up that way. Here's the kickoff coming down. That's Henry off the right-hand side. Gets to the 25 to the 30 and up to the 37-yard line.
I didn't mean not to answer you. I just wanted to figure out how. As one of the guys who were at the luncheon and talking about that, he said it's amazing how much better we are now than we were.
Well, those runs get a little bit longer, and those feats become a little bit greater over the years. But believe me, I think all of those young men at that time and somewhat older gentlemen now have certainly earned the right to to build on their reputations a little bit with some of the things that happened to them during high school football in this area.
You know, speaking of that, we had 5 officials that were honored too, with 2:16 here to go in the first half. And 87-year-old Lorne Merkel, who worked over 5,000 games in all 3 sports locally, and to quote Lorne, never missed a call, was one of them. And it's awfully nice to be able to say nice things about those people, because they were all great contributors to the game here in the Tacoma-Pierce County area.
And they touched so many people. In fact, Lorne refereed some of the high school basketball games that I was involved in, and that's a few years back now also, more than I care to admit.
Yeah, another honoree was Jack Stonestreet, and I think he's worked 42 years as a football official, and he worked last night here in the Dome.
Oh, man. Yep. In fact, both of those gentlemen, Lorne Merkel and Jack Stonestreet, were high school basketball officials in the
Yeah, they were.
at least part of the time anyway. And I know they moved around, but in the South Puget Sound League when I was playing back
And you
in the
keep
day.
probing, I'll tell you that Kapowson story later.
I'll do that. Here's the handoff off the right-hand side, and that's Sturgis, and he's not going to get too much. Maybe a yard to about the 40-yard line, and that's all before he's pushed out of bounds. So all of a sudden that Ram defense gets a little charge of energy, a little bit of enthusiasm after the offense punches it in, and they want to shut North Kitsap down right here.
Nathan Tillman, number 33, has been around that ball a lot tonight as a defensive back for the Wilson Rams.
Here's Jared Prince on 2nd down and 10. Drops straight back and looking to his left, pumping and now throwing down the middle. And just behind Sturgis, he tried to make an outstretched grab at about the 42-yard line and couldn't quite hang on to the football. That would have been good for a first down. Instead, it's 3rd down and 10.
Well, Prince with a low pitch, but he had his man, and he's been as sparkling here tonight as a passer as we learned about him during the week and anticipated.
Very fine prospect. He certainly has the arm, and he's got the physical size at 6'3" and 200. Prince pump faking and going to lob it deep up the left-hand side to Henry and overshot him at about the 25-yard line. On the coverage, Calvin James, and he was stride for stride with Henry down there.
Yeah, James is a 180-pound senior for the Wilson Rams, and he too has been a busy guy in that secondary with 1:55 to go in the half.
So the Wilson Rams defense comes up big. They shut down North Kitsap, and the Vikings will have to punt it away. And Wilson, now with some momentum here, they'll get the football back with about 1 minute and 45 seconds to go in the half, and maybe still some time. Here's a wobbly kick coming down to Tongue at his own 23-yard line. Gets by one tackler, can't get by the second, and is brought down at the 24.
That was Ray Quintano, who was there, number 46 for North Kitsap. He's done a nice job of coverage on those punts.
So the Rams start 1st and 10. They're on 24-yard line with 1:44 now to go in the half.
It's been a game of big plays so far, so you never know. You wouldn't think it would happen, but a moment ago it did with all the explosiveness of the moment. A 54 or 6-yard run by Robert Jackson.
And that last drive capped by Jackson's touchdown run. The drive itself was less than about 40 seconds. They got plenty of time if they can work that quickly here. We'll see what happens with 1:44 to play. Jomlin rolling to his right, getting some pressure, flares it out incomplete. At the sideline, intended that time for Sean McGinnis, his tight end. He couldn't quite put the grasp on that one, so it's an incompleted pass, and the clock stops with 1:37 in the half.
I think he heard the footsteps of number 55, Mike McClelland of North Kitsap on the play. Again, a lot of times the kids look back to catch that pass and then turn before they got it.
Tongue is back in the game now for Wilson. Also in there, Jeremy Stojakovic, one of the wide receiver positions. Jomlin up under center. Going to give on the draw and getting to about the 25-yard line. Not too much there in that time. On the carry for the Rams, it was Ian Ellis, it looks like. Ellis who on the carry.
Joel Guido made the tackle on the play along with the big guy, Tidball.
So the clock runs with 1:10 to go in the half, and 3rd down and 9 now for the Rams.
So there wasn't much there except a 220-pounder and a 245-pounder.
Yeah, they shut down that lane real quick. Javelin waits and takes, gives to Jackson. Jackson jitterbugs his way, finds some room, 30, 35. There he goes, 40, and out of bounds. And a 1st down for the Rams at the 43-yard line. And boy, he can really turn it on.
I think Wilson just got 15 more, too, because he was hit out of bounds. You know, that's the same play that scored, of course, and he just was too tight to the near sidelines that time because he had been out sprinting those defenders.
Didn't quite have as much room to the boundary that time to break it all the way, but nonetheless picks up the 1st down, and as Doug mentioned, they'll tack on the penalty as well. So the Rams are going to be in North Kitsap Viking territory here, and still 45 seconds left to play in this half.
Well, you wouldn't think they could equalize the score, but the way they've moved the football at times with quick bursts, they can do a lot in 45 seconds.
So they'll spot the football at the Viking 42-yard line.
Been a fun game to watch, Steve.
It really has. Contrast of North Kitsap throwing the football and Wilson running the football.
And speed all over the place.
Shamlin has room to his left. Gives to Jackson. Tries to bounce it to that side. Instead is nailed right in the middle of the defensive line. And a pickup of only about a yard, and now a quick timeout. And this one will go to the Rams as they'll stop the clock with 34 seconds to go in the half here, and they have it 2nd down at the North Kitsap 40-yard line. So an interesting situation here for Wilson.
We're going to credit Mike McClelland with that tackle. He's been a tough customer in the middle of that line. And speaking of that, Steve, quickly my Kapowson story to you. Fife and Kapowson were the big powers of the Pierce County League in 39 and 40. Fife won the state championship in 39, but Kapowson turned the tables in 1940. And they had a fullback by the name of Don DeAndrea, who you may remember because you have a PLC or PLU background. And Don was a great player at PLU, an All-American and in their Hall of Fame. Well, at PLU, he played at 280 pounds, and they called him Bubbles. But in high school, nobody called him Bubbles. And the paper said, well, he was 227 in that era. That was big. Well, the Fife guys at the banquet said he wasn't in fact, the Kapowson guy said he wasn't 227. He was 265, and no 3 guys on our team could stop him.
Oh. Well, I tell you, at that time, too, that was a huge football player.
Yeah, remember they were doing on that 90-yard field I told you about, too.
That's right. So here are the Rams with a 2nd down, but the clock is probably the biggest factor right now. 34 seconds left to play in a half. 4 wide receivers for the Rams. Here's Jomlin to throw. Good protection. Looks to his left and fires, and it is caught out there by Jackson, who finally takes it out of bounds at the 32-yard line. He'll be just short, it appears, of a 1st down. It's going to be very, very close as Jackson made that bobbling, scrambling catch and brought it in and then stepped out of bounds.
Andy Sturza ushered him out of bounds with 25 seconds to go. But I'll tell you, Jackson's been impressive.
He has indeed, and that catch good for about 8 yards, and they're taking a long look at it on the far sidelines to see whether it is indeed good for a 1st down or not. Darren Nelson putting the eyes on that one.
I don't think it makes much difference. We got 25 seconds to go, and they're not going to get many more plays anyway. So it's 2nd and short or 1st and 10, and they got to go for 6.
They're going to be going anyway.
Yeah.
You bet. And I think they may be just a bit short, but it is going to be, I believe, a 2nd down. They want a fresh football in there, I guess. Yeah, we're getting a fresh football into the game.
Darren Nelson's another official who's been around for a lot of years, and he's going to be getting honored like those 5 officials in the next couple of years too, I'm sure. A lot of people don't realize that if the Officials Association makes a great contribution to the game.
They really do. 3rd down and short. Now just 25 seconds left to go in the half. They're at the North Kitsap 32-yard line. Jomlin looking. throwing to his right. Caught down there by James, who fumbles the football inside the 20-yard line, and North Kitsap is on it. So Calvin James made the reception, but then lost the handle. Recovered on the play by Gerald Smith for North Kitsap, and that turnover is going to kill the Rams' chances of equalizing this football game prior to the half.
Well, James knows it now, but he was trying to break it for the score. He'd have been better off going out of bounds, stopping the clock, and giving the Rams one more play. And it cost him big time because it cost him the ball.
So the Vikings here will have probably just one more play to kill the clock in this first half, and the teams will head to the locker rooms. As I say that, Prince is going to wind up and fire the bomb up the right side. Incomplete. You know, it always turns out that way. Just when you think they're going to take a knee and run out the half, there's the bomb.
I think I made the same remark at tonight's first game, and no way those kids are going to listen to us.
The pass was intended for Travis Tobin and just off his fingertips, and the clock stops with 6 seconds to go.
I'll tell you, if I had a senior quarterback like Prince and 12, 15, 6, whatever number of seconds left, I'd let him throw it too. You never know. He could bust one all in one play. And as intelligent as he is and as sure of himself, he's probably not going to make a mistake back there.
And Jared this time is going to swing it out to Sturza at the 20-yard line, up the sidelines to the 30, to the 35, and brought down at about the 38-yard line. Making the tackle on the play for Wilson is Jeremy Stojakovic, and that's the final play of the first half. So a very well played first half and very interesting. As Doug mentioned, a lot of speed on both sides of the football, and Wilson getting themselves back into it on that electrifying 56-yard touchdown run by Robert Jackson. The Rams trail North Kitsap by just a touchdown here at halftime. The Vikings on top 14-7.
Our halftime guests are from the Tacoma Athletic Commission, one of the groups that founded the Touchdown Time event, and a group that has been an organization that has been front and center in sports in the Tacoma-Pierce County community for years. Tony Anderson is in his third term as president of the TAC, and George Nordy is a two-time past president of the organization. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you, George. Nice to be here.
Tony, tell us a little bit about the TAC, how old it is, its inception. How about that?
Okay, great, Doug. The Tacoma Athletic Commission is 61 years old, and it began in 1943. Four of the gentlemen that were the big pushers behind the Tacoma Athletic Commission were Mayor Harry Kane at that time, Mr. Clay Huntington, who now owns KLAY Radio right here in our community, along with Mr. Jerry Guillen, who was the first real sportscaster here in our area, and then went on to own KTAC radio here in Tacoma, and then, of course, the legendary coach, Mr. John Heinrich. And so since then, we have been going to move in this organization and community to promote sports and civic betterment.
And George, you've been a member of the organization for quite a few years. Tell us a little bit about its activities.
Well, Doug, as Tony mentioned, we try and do things for sports and civic betterment. And probably let's take a look at civic betterment. The dome that we're playing in today was a TAC project. They were the movers and the shakers, the fundraisers that went out and obtained the funding and pushed the drive to get the voters to go for the dome. And at that time, as you recall, your theme was let's keep the kids out of the mud, because we didn't have the artificial fields that we have today, and both Lincoln and Stadium Bowl were sandboxes.
Shucks, George, we didn't even have grass fields.
And in addition to that, some of our current functions are we have the Golden Gloves, which is one of our major fundraisers, and then each year through the Golden Gloves we send young boxers down to Las Vegas to compete down there in the regionals down there. We have brought outside boxing at times here, amateur boxing, it's all amateur. And we have our Athlete of the Month program, which is another favorite of ours, where each month we bring in outstanding kids from each of the high schools in town to honor them for their athletic and their academic endeavors.
Tony, you've had some pretty prestigious athletes who have been Athlete of the Year for the TAC as well. Is that right?
That's correct, Doug. We've had some wonderful athletes such as John Kitna. We have had Megan Raines. Megan Raines was also our annual award winner here a few years ago. This year we had some great athletes as well. What's good about this Athlete of the Year program is some scholarship money comes along with the award. We're able to help our student athletes in their years to come, and that makes it a lot of fun because that's what the TAC is all about, is promoting these young student athletes and helping them with their futures.
Okay, you've taken the lead in the community in sports for 60-some years. Now, we've heard word about a new Allied Sports Council. Is the TAC part of that? How does that work?
Yes, Doug. We've come together all of the sports groups here in our community have come together to form one group to work more closely together. The TAC is the oldest organization, so therefore we've kind of taken the lead in this endeavor, but we have many other organizations such as the Tacoma Pierce County Sports Commission, the Old Jocks Group, the Nifty 50s Group. We have a lot of different organizations, the Sister City Baseball Exchange program that's been in this community for the last 18 years. We have the Bob McGinnis Memorial Committee and a few others as well. So we're working hard not only with this event to bring this new event to the community, but to continue to work together in the future, which will benefit all organizations.
Sounds like you might be taking the cue from Allied Arts in Tacoma. It seems when they unified, arts really has taken off in our community and is now in a position of real strength, and that you're attempting to do something like that in the world of sports.
Exactly, well. and that is a great model that they have put forth for us to follow, and that's what our goal is going to be. And one of the things that we're trying to achieve here with this touchdown time event, besides the recognition of teams in the past and in the future, is our drive for a new carpet in the Tacoma Dome. And I know that that's something very near and dear to George because he's involved with our Gridiron Classic events, state championship events as well.
Tell us about that, George, the new rug in the dome. Why is it necessary? How are you going to accomplish it? Who's behind it?
Well, the existing rug that we have now was a used rug to begin with. The Tacoma Dome people purchased that from the Seahawks when they were in the Kingdome, and they replaced the rug there. It has a projected life of probably 5 to 7 years, and then it will be worn out.
And that's with only a few games each year, right?
That's with just a few games each year. Now, this year we're looking at our 2 doubleheaders that we've got going right now. We're looking at the Bacon Bowl, which is on this coming Saturday, and then we have the semifinals for the state football, which is the weekend after Thanksgiving, and then the finals, which is the first weekend in December. Those are the only football events that we have that I know of at this time scheduled for the Dome. So it doesn't get much play.
So outline the plan a little bit for a new rug.
Well, we're talking right now to some of the pro ball players who have gone through the Tacoma Pierce County school system and who have played in our bowls here, and some of them have even played in the Tacoma Dome itself. Others are a little older and are prior to the Dome time, and we will be coming forth with an announcement of some of those guys who will become like co-chairman or multi-chairman to start a drive amongst all the pro football players that have come out of the state of Washington. And when you start making up the list, there's quite a few. We're going to ask them if through their foundations, through their charities, if they can help us out and donate some money to the cause. We will also go to the various foundations that we have in the state and apply for grants from them. And we want to have a grassroots drive so that we're going to let everybody have the opportunity to give us some money.
I understand that football players who have been in the Dome, have played in the Dome, have a very special feeling toward that facility as far as the state championship and playing in the Dome. Have you had a great reception in touchdown time?
Oh, we've had just a wonderful reception, touchdown time. Our tailgate luncheon was a huge success, and a lot of people attended and had a wonderful time. It just shows that if you put forth an event in this community, the people here will support it. It's very exciting, the Dome and the renovations that we hope will be taking place in the future. We've had great response from people and businesses in the community for sponsorship, a couple of which are Tacoma Power and Click, who sponsored the tailgate luncheon. We can't thank them enough, and they were excited about being the sponsor, as well as Robert Larson Motors and all the people there involved with his group are providing free parking for all the people who are in attendance at the events of touchdown time, and we can't thank them enough for providing that free parking. Makes it really an affordable event for our community. And then there's many others like Evergreen Excavation, Menotti Excavation, Great American RV, Pepsi, Tacoma Sports Commission, Union 76. All of these people, Gordon Thomas Honeywell, Superior Linen, Nifty 50s, Dr. Tony Milan, Jeff Jensen over at Professional Partners and Windermere Real Estate have done just a great job, and Uniland Investments. Everybody's been excited to take part in this event. So we've had just a wonderful response, Doug.
Will this continue to be held, do you think, in the Tacoma Dome?
Yes, we hope to make this an annual affair. Each year, starting off the season with 4, 6, maybe football games to give the community a good look, kind of to replace, Doug, the grid go round, which the TAC instituted numerous years ago and which has gone by the wayside now because of scheduling. So we want to be able to reach out and bring schools in from throughout the Tacoma, Pierce County area, give them the opportunity. And if this works out, we want to take a look to see that what the opportunity might be for us to come in during the middle of the season, the October sometime, middle of October, latter part of October, and follow up with another series of games and keep those kids playing in the domes.
Well, from the standpoint of a fan, I can tell you that Tacoma Dome is a great venue to watch football. Not only is it comfortable, but it has terrific football sight lines. You're right up close, and the game has a real feel of excitement.
Well, I played in the, my teams played in the King Dome, and we thought we had a pretty good crowd going up there, and they were lost. Yeah. And I look at the games that we put on and have here in the Tacoma Dome, and like you say, it's a great venue. It's great not only from those of us who are now spectators and feel that way, but the Coaches Association. They want to keep playing in here. They love this place.
Well, congratulations on staging the event. I'm certain that we're looking forward to another one, and we thank you very much for being our guests at halftime. And we'll be back with the second half action right after this.
And we're back at the Tacoma Dome. Steve Thomas along with Doug McArthur. It is halftime here of the nightcap of these 2 days of football action, with North Kitsap leading Wilson by a score of 14-7. Doug?
Quite a first half, Steve. Prince of the passing, 73 yards on 5 of 11. Jackson with the legs for Wilson, 9 carries, 96 yards, including a 54-yarder. So it's been a game of big plays, 7 first downs apiece, 117 rushing yards for Wilson to 45 for North Kitsap, 73 passing yards for North Kitsap to 50 for Wilson. And we have a very special presentation here as the teams come out now for the second half. We'll go down to the field, and Tony Anderson of the Tacoma Athletic Commission.
Ladies and gentlemen, we direct your attention to midfield, and it looks like we're going to have a special presentation, and we'll turn things over to Tony Anderson here in a moment, and he'll introduce our guest, our special guest here tonight. Tony?
Thank you. I'd like to introduce, I'm Tony Anderson, President of the Tacoma Athletic Commission. It's a pleasure to be part of Touchdown Time. I'd like to introduce, to my left, past President of the TAC and Chairman of our Golden Gloves program, Dr. Greg Plancich, and Tacoma's own Stan, the man Nacarado. Next to Stan here in the center is Emmett Litton Sr. He's the director of the Tacoma Boxing Club. And next to me is Mr. Gary Yazwa, Executive Director of the Boys and Girls Clubs of South Puget Sound. Gary and Emmett, on behalf of the Tacoma Athletic Commission, it's our pleasure to present to you a check for $12,000 to start off the 2004-5 campaign for the Tacoma Boxing Club and the Boys and Girls Clubs of South Puget Sound. Hand them the big check. Let's play some football.
And a nice presentation at halftime of that check, and just a great contribution to all the things that have happened in the Puget Sound area, and contributions from Tacoma football and the Boys and Girls Clubs, and some great football action over the last two nights, including this nightcap here, which is a great ball game at halftime, with North Kitsap leading it by a score of 14-7. Wilson with the better of it as far as total yards in the first half, 167 total yards for the Rams, 118 total yards for North Kitsap in the first half of play, and we look forward to a great final 24 minutes of football here tonight.
We've got the Rams' legs against the Viking arm, and it makes for a very interesting game. It could be 14-14. I guess it could be 21-14 too, or 21-7. We've had some big plays, some big breaks, and some big moments, but we've had a dandy to watch. And we hope you'll continue with us throughout the second half of this one as the North Kitsap Vikings lead the Wilson Rams 14-7. And Steve, if this is a sample of Narrows League football, I'll tell you, it's worth watching.
It really is. Both these teams in respective divisions, in the Bay and Bridge divisions of the Narrows League, and they've had some outstanding teams at both these schools through the years, and looks like these two teams are going to be very representative in their divisions this year.
You speak of North Kitsap, and yes, they've had a great tradition, and way back in 1939, the Five Trojans won the State B Championship and an unbeaten year by nipping Paulsbo High School 7-0.
Yep. So the captains have met at the center of the field. We're just about set as Darren Nelson will get them lined up, and we'll get underway with the second half of play.
You know, the Tacoma Athletic Commission presenting that check to the Boys and Girls Clubs and their boxing programs is a signal for me to think back and remember that that particular organization started as the Tacoma War Athletic Commission in 1943. And in those 61 years, they've given thousands and thousands of dollars to youth activities in the area. The original premise was to buy sports equipment for the soldiers out at Fort Lewis and the airmen out at McCord.
And they still do outstanding work in this area and all throughout the county as well.
Largely, they've been responsible for the formation of the Allied Sports Council and the origination of this game.
And here we go, the kickoff by Jeff Oddly. High and very short, comes down into a big pack of players at about the 40-yard line. And coming up with the football there and returning it up to about the 42-yard line with it for Wilson is Jeremy Stojakovic. And that's where Wilson will start, 1st and 10 at their own 42-yard line. The Rams trail the Vikings here, 14-7 as we begin this second half.
Stephon Jones, a 5'5", 188-pound sophomore, was the man who made the tackle for North Kitsap.
So there you look at Zach Jomlin, the junior quarterback for the Rams. Again, they go back to that I formation. And Tung, the man in motion, they give to the trailer. That's Jackson, who weaves his way through traffic at the 45-yard line. Is finally brought down at about the 47. So Robert Jackson again picking up good yardage there as he has another 5 or 6 more. And that'll put Jackson up near 100 yards already running the football in this ball game.
He's been kind of a well-kept secret by the Wilson Rams here at the start of the year, but a couple of long runs in his first 2 games, I think, have fueled the fire because a lot of college recruiters have been looking at him.
This one, however, will be coming back. A holding call against Wilson, so they'll step it off from the point of the hold at the 43-yard line. Back to the 33. And there it will be second down, or rather first down, and about 19 yards to go.
The Ram attack has been at times very sparkling, but they've made some major mistakes that have stopped drives.
Sean McGinnis and Corey Mason, a couple of wide receivers, split far to the left now as Jomlin gives it up inside and busting it to about the 35-yard line as the fullback. And he'll pick up a couple of yards. That's Congdon. Andrew Congdon, 5'9", 200-pound senior.
Jeff Otley ever present tonight for North Kitsap, the man who led the tacklers that time.
Congdon trying to put that shoe back on as well as he had the right shoe come off. Gets that back on. Second down and long here now for the Rams as they move right to left as we start the third quarter here at the Tacoma Dome. Jomlin against a 4-man defensive front for North Kitsap. Going to roll to his left, get some pressure now, stepping up in the pocket. He's going to run the football, and he'll be dropped right at the line of scrimmage. Making the tackle was Sturza. And he gets back to about the line of scrimmage, does Zach Jomlin, so it'll be third down there, third down and 15 coming up.
North Kitsap's got a man shaken up in the play, Joel Guido.
And he'll be attended to there by the Vikings trainer, Chris Franklin, and others. We are just into this third quarter with Wilson trailing North Kitsap by a score of 14-7. Vikings had the better of it in the early going. They took the opening kickoff and took it all the way for a touchdown with the score coming on a short run by Jeff Camus. Wilson almost tied the football game up on their opening drive, but they failed on a 4th down and goal from the 6-yard line. And the Vikings came back later in that first quarter to make it 14-0. The Rams cutting the lead in half, though, on Robert Jackson's 56-yard touchdown gallop around the right-hand side. And 14-7 is where it stood at halftime. That's where it stands right now as we're just into the third quarter.
And Guido stands, and that's good news, too.
Walking off to the far sidelines.
I want to remind football fans in the area, Steve, that Saturday, which at the time of this telecast is tomorrow, the annual Bacon Bowl between the Tacoma and Seattle Police, a big game for charity, right here in the Tacoma Dome at 5 o'clock.
So more football to come here at the Dome tomorrow as well. Rams here, third down and let's call it 16 yards to go from their own 36-yard line. Against a 3-man front. Jomlin looking. Fires it to the sideline, and that's going to be incomplete. Would have been far short of a first down had he made the catch out there. And it does go incomplete as it was tended out there for Tongue. So it's 4th down for Wilson.
Camus, the closest defender on the play that time, covering for North Kitsap.
And so Corey Mason will drop back and punt it away now for Wilson. Jordan Henry waits back there deep for the Vikings along with Travis Tobin. Low snap to Mason, who gets it away. Spiral coming to the near sidelines, and Tobin trying to wave everybody away from that one. It's finally touched down at the Viking 33-yard line. And we got a penalty marker down on the play as well.
Wilson's Calvin James made the catch under that punt, making sure that it wasn't going to bounce backward.
And the penalty marker was back at the Rams' 40-yard line. Let's see which direction this one's going to go. Darren Nelson says it's a motion call against Wilson. So the Vikings have the option here as to what they want to do. And they're bringing out North Kitsap's captain. That's Mike McClellan. to make a decision as to whether they'll take the football at their own 33 or force the Rams to punt it over again. Well, looks like
decent field position. I think I'd have kept it and gone.
might have been the smart choice there, but they're going to have Corey Mason of the Rams punt one more time, 5 yards further back.
With Prince at the throttle, 67 yards is nothing. We'll see who's right, though, now. And maybe the Vikings know what they're doing. We're going to know in a moment.
And we'll see whether or not Travis Tobin gets an opportunity to get camped under this punt return and bring one back. So Mason kicks it. This one's high and very short. And will bounce at the 50-yard line. It's a little bit of a Wilson Ram bounce inside the 45 to about the 42.
Well, they picked up about 9 yards in the process.
A couple of yards anyway.
Sure, that's worth it.
And North Kitsap will take control 1st and 10 at their own 42 with Jared Prince at the controls.
And it'll be 1st and 10.
Prince with one touchdown pass so far tonight. That one going to Jordan Henry in the first half.
Actually, North Kitsap hasn't thrown the ball as much as I'd anticipated. They were 5 for 11 in the first half. It all could change in part two.
Camus in motion. Here's Prince getting to the corner and firing it. Got Sturza complete at the 50. Breaks a tackle 45-40 down the sidelines. Cuts it back at the 30 and rumbles all the way down inside the 25 to the 24-yard line.
Robert Jackson catching him from behind to avert the touchdown.
Great catch and run by Andy Sturza there as he caught the football and took it another 20 yards on his own down the sidelines for a big gainer. And North Kitsap puts it deep in Wilson territory at the 24-yard line.
So he goes over the 100-yard mark passing now at 106.
Well, the Vikings on the move here as they send Henry wide to the left. And to the near side comes Travis Tobin. Sturza is the single setback. He gets the carry off the right side. Big hole, 20, 15. Sturza still on his feet and finally stood up and dropped at about the 13-yard line. So Andy Sturza strong running once again off the right-hand side. And looks like he may have enough for another first down.
Jackson and Andrew Congdon, the tacklers on the play. Busy guys offensively and now defensively.
And it is 1st and 10 for the Vikings at the Ram 13-yard line. Well, they took the opening kickoff and took it all the way in. The Vikings trying to take their opening possession of the second half and do the same. Here's the give to Sturza. More running room inside the 10 down to about the 5-yard line before he's finally taken down. The 3 or 4 Wilson red-shirted defenders there finally wrestling Sturza to the turf.
Justin Bush, number 8, who is fixing his shoe there, was the guy at the bottom of the stack. But plenty of assistance on that play for Wilson, but they're given ground.
Second down. Football just outside the 5-yard line. North Kitsap leading at 14-7. We have 8 minutes, 3 seconds left to go in the third quarter. Again, the 4 wide receivers for Prince. Up under his center, Brock Tidball. And a give to Sturza one more time, and well, maybe once too often to the well, as everybody was waiting for Andy Sturza that time, and he is drilled hard and brought down for a loss of a couple.
That Wilson nose guard, and I can't pick up his number, way down there at the 5. He submarined on that play, and then everybody came over the top.
So it'll be third down now and about 5 yards to go as football is spotted back near the 9-yard line for the Vikings. Camus will be the lone running back this time for Jared Prince. Sturza lines up as a slot man on the right. They pump fake to him. Now Prince is spinning around and going to his right to run or throw. Going to fire it incomplete out of the end zone. As he got pressure right at the end of that little sprint out that time, and it was Anthony Wiggins, the defensive lineman, who finally got to Prince and forced him to fire it through the end zone and out.
Yeah, Prince made sure it was going to be intercepted. In fact, the closest thing to it was the McKinley Grill doors down there behind the end zone. but that's a safe play, you know.
It is indeed, and brings up fourth down now for the Vikings, and it looks like they are going to go for it here.
Well, they're not going to kick a field goal, apparently.
Yep, from the 8-yard line, fourth down and goal. Or check that, fourth down and about 4 yards to go for a first down, about 8 yards to go for a touchdown. Camus and Sturzo line up as split backs this time, and they give on the reverse. Here comes Tobin around the left-hand side. He breaks it into the end zone for 6. Little double reverse that time, and Travis Tobin takes it around the left-hand side and in from 8 yards out for the touchdown.
Well, the beauty of having the passing threat that Prince presents, Steve, is it leaves you wide open for other types of things to happen. And that was a well-conceived double reverse.
One of the few times tonight we've seen them not with the 4 wide receivers, but the split backs that time, and they end up giving to one of those running backs and then giving back to the wingman or the slot man, Tobin, coming from right to left, and he takes it in for the touchdown.
As we mentioned earlier, Coach Jerry Parrish calls this offense wings and things. Well, that was one of those things.
That was one of the things that was very effective there. And coming on for the point after try is Jeff Ottley out of the hold of Camus, and it's on the way, and it's good. So North Kitsap's first possession in the third quarter, and they take it in for the touchdown. And the Vikings move on to a 21-7 lead now over Wilson.
Now, just in case at home you think that 14 points is insurmountable, we've got 6:52 to go in the third quarter, and we've had quick strikes all over the place so far. So don't go away, folks. There's lots to come here.
We've already seen enough of Robert Jackson to know that this one is still very much in doubt, as Jackson has already carried for more than 100 yards for the Wilson Rams.
Yeah, with kids like that, you're always just one play away, and you never know which play that is. It can be a 2-yard gain or a 54-yard gain, and it all hinges sometimes on just one block or one little deep move by the runner.
He does. Jackson has had his moments. Derek Tung had an outstanding punt return here earlier tonight as well. And the Rams have threatened on a couple of other occasions to get on the board, but have been denied. We'll see what they can do now as they trail 21-7 here in this third quarter. Ottley to kick it off. And Tung is down there, but they're going to bounce it up the right-hand side. And it's going to come down to the 20-yard line. And getting to about the, looks like it was Kerry Farah that time. He finally came up with the football and gets it across the 25 to about the 27-yard line. So that's where the Rams will start at 1st and 10.
Well, the Vikings have really been consistently kicking the ball short, and that's devised, I'm sure, to keep some of those speed burners of Wilson getting their flying start back in the 10 to 20-yard area.
Coming wide to the near side comes Josh Gray. And they go to the I backs once again behind Jomlin. He's going to give to Cogden off the right guard area, and he plows it up to the 30-yard line to about the 31. Andrew Cogden will pick up about 4 on that carry. Cogden, the inside runner, and Jackson, the outside threat for the Rams.
North Kitsap gave up 44 points in their overtime loss, which was a close game all the way. And so tonight they've really done a better job defensively, but it's always seemed like Wilson's had the threat of busting one.
Jomlin's going to give to Jackson off the left-hand side. He breaks it to the corner, gets to the 30, then cuts back to the 35 and has the first down near the 38-yard line. Again, Jackson very effectively using his blockers that time. Took it outside and then realized he had a couple of those red shirts in front of him that could lead him back to the middle of the field. Cut behind them and picks up enough for the first down.
I like his moves. He's a 5'11", 180-pound senior, and obviously has speed to burn.
And the Rams from their own 38-yard line now, first down and 10. Again with the backs, Cogden the fullback, Jackson the tailback. And they give to Cogden, and he'll get some running room off the left-hand side this time as he takes it across the 40 to the 43 or 44-yard line. Cogden a little upset that he didn't break that tackle and go a lot further. And nonetheless, he picks up about 5 yards.
55, Jacob Snell.
I think you mentioned that Jackson's over the 100-yard mark, but he had 96 of them in the first half. And with a back like that, just one play can double your total in a hurry.
Second down from the 43. Shamlin giving to Jackson. He's got a lot of room. 45, 50. Jackson all the way down to the North Kitsap 47-yard line. Don't need to pass if you can move it that well on the ground. That's been the Wilson story tonight. They've been running it very effectively and have not thrown that many times at all. But Jackson again picking up good yardage down to the Viking 47-yard line.
I've got him for 121 yards and 13 carries, even though that's unofficial. It's impressive.
That's a 10 yards of burst there for Jackson as he keeps Wilson moving on this drive. We have 4:20 left to go in the third quarter now. Shamlin going to give on the end around to Tongue and gets a block on the corner. Still dancing around and finally caught from behind as McClellan caught him from behind that time by North Kitsap. Tongue couldn't quite decide whether he was going to go inside or outside all the way to the sideline, and finally McClellan got him by the heels and drags him down very near the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, he danced all right, but he did the two-step, and the second one cost him.
But we did have a penalty marker down on the play, and that is going to be a penalty against Wilson. Looked like a hold against the Rams. And again, the discussion between Darren Nelson, our referee, and the captain there, Mike McClellan.
They've certainly shot themselves in the foot a few times here tonight. But they have the makings of an offensive machine.
So the hold will be stepped off against Wilson back to the 43-yard line. It'll be first down and how many? About 22 yards to go, I guess, as they step it off for the point of the hold.
First and long, that's for sure.
First and a bunch for the Rams here. We'll see whether they stay to that ground game here, even on a first and long situation. Now they are going to throw this time. Jomlin with good protection. Got a man, and it is caught down at the 40-yard line. Upended at the 35-yard line with the reception is Justin Bush. The tight end makes the catch and picks up a first down as he gets 23 on that pass reception.
You know, I've been impressed with the quarterbacking of Zach Shamlin. He's not a bad passer and obviously has quick feet.
And trying to give the Rams back a little bit of momentum now after they'd fallen behind by a couple of touchdowns as they did in the first half when they fell behind 14-0 and got a quick score back on the board before halftime, and trying to bring the Rams within a touchdown once again here as we wind down in the late stages of the third quarter. Jomlin will give to Jackson. He'll cut it back left and find running room in the corner. 30, 25, and finally ripped down at the 22-yard line as making the tackle was Jarrell Smith. But Jackson again has more than enough room for the first down as he picks up 14.
He came close to breaking at that time, but Jarrell Smith did a nice job of hanging on. And I'll tell you, he was hanging on.
So the Rams on the move. First and 10 at the North Kitsap 22-yard line.
Incidentally, some credit, Steve, to that Wilson forward wall. They're opening up some gaping holes right now, and the backs are doing a good job of following the blocking leads.
Again, some real talented athletes on that front line of the Rams. Jomlin's going to hand it to Jackson. This time he'll cut it inside a block from his tailback. Cuts back at the 20, still on his feet to the 15, and all the way down to the 10-yard line.
Now that's some dancing there.
I'll tell you what, nobody could find a handle on Robert Jackson. He was just not to be denied there. And another first down as he picks up 13 yards on that carry. Robert Jackson has really been impressive here tonight. It'll be first down and goal for the Rams now, just inside the North Kitsap 10-yard line.
Wilson around.
He's been Wilson's best kept secret this year so far. Everybody's asked, who's this Robert Jackson? And there hasn't been any answer. Well, he's answered it himself here tonight.
North Kitsap hasn't really found the answer for Robert Jackson yet this evening. Javelin with a long count. Going to give to the fullback up inside, pounding it down to about the 5-yard line for the Rams is Sergio Beltran. A little change of pace. I think everybody keying on Jackson after those electrifying last 3 runs. This time Beltran moves it up inside and gets about 3 yards. Second down from right at the North Kitsap 6-yard line.
This is a critical spot on the field for Wilson. They were down to the 1 earlier and didn't succeed. So this is a big play.
Jomlin with Cogden and Jackson in the eye. There's the give to Jackson. Got a blocker out in front at the 5. Jackson's in the end zone. Touchdown, Wilson. Robert Jackson takes it off the right-hand side. 6 yards for the score.
He's putting on a show, Steve.
He has been very, very impressive tonight, as have those blockers leading the way for him out in front. That big front wall, they've done a good job opening things up for Robert Jackson, and he's really taken advantage of it.
Did you see how he followed his blocker that time? He actually put the hand out and just kind of spiraled his way off of the lead block.
Yeah. Lead me home, and that's what they did that time. Here's the point after try now. Place down, kick is up, and the kick is good. So Andrew Pudist adds the point after, and just like that, Wilson answering the touchdown by North Kitsap, and the Rams back in it. They trail by 7, 21-14 now. It's the second time tonight that the Rams, when it looked like they were on the verge of maybe being put out in this game, have come right back with probably their most impressive drive of the night.
As the season goes on and the Rams gain experience, they're going to be a load to handle in that Narrows League.
They will indeed, and we've already seen their young quarterback, Zach Jomlin, really show the poise of a real seasoned veteran, even though he's just a junior and hadn't really seen that much action before. He's looked very comfortable tonight.
Yet on the other side of the field, anytime that score gets close, they've got a guy named Prince, and he can do it himself in a different way. The arm versus the Jackson legs.
Yep. That's been a really interesting matchup to watch here tonight. There have been some other factors in the ball game, some other individuals adding their talents, but the standouts certainly have been Robert Jackson for Wilson and Jared Priest for North Kitsap. Here's the kickoff, and it'll come down to Henry, who takes it at the 15 to the 20-25 up the left sideline. He's got some room, 45-50. Henry all the way down to the Wilson 42-yard line. What a great return by Jordan Henry of North Kitsap.
Have we had some big plays or what?
Yeah.
The last man for the Wilson Rams who could possibly do it. Was that Jackson? I can't. No, it was not. It was Corey Mason.
And he was the last guy there as Jordan Henry made an excellent return up the left sideline. And now North Kitsap has it after the kick return at the Wilson 43-yard line. So great field position for Jared Priest and company, Prince and company.
We've had a lot of knockout punches tonight, but nobody stays down very long.
They go to the split backs once again, and they give to Sturza, and he gets a block from Camus out in front, and Sturza powers his way down to the 36-yard line. Andy Sturza just not going to go down until he picks up 8 yards on the carry, or close to it anyway, down at the 30, just inside the 37-yard line.
With all the pregame talk about Prince, Steve, I think that we've been misled a little bit. This North Kitsap team isn't all passing. They can run the football, too.
They can indeed, and Camus and Sturza have done a good job of it tonight. To offset the fine passing of Jared Prince. And they give to Sturza off the right-hand side this time. And again, he follows his blocking inside the 30, close to the 29. That'll be good for a North Kitsap first down as Sturza picks up 6.
Justin Bush of Wilson, a 230-pound linebacker, wearing number 8, the man who makes the stop on the play.
So the Vikings coming right back. Now Jared Prince goes over to the far sideline for a moment to get the call from Jerry Parrish. As you see Prince there coming back to the Viking huddle.
He's going to let it run down.
And that'll be the final play of the third quarter. We've had an excellent ball game here in our nightcap so far tonight as the teams head for the final 12 minutes, and we're in a great ball game here with North Kitsap leading Wilson by a score of 21-14. So Prince will huddle with Jerry Parrish and the rest of the North Kitsap coaching staff as they try to keep this drive going. And although the Vikings have been effective offensively here tonight, still not quite like last week when they piled up 41 points and still did not manage to come home with a victory. But they have been impressive offensively nonetheless.
Jerry will gladly take less scoring and a win, but he's been around for a long, long time, and he's been one of the real great guys in coaching here in the state of Washington's high schools, and we just had a ton of them. So he's got a good club up at North Kitsap this year, and both of these teams are going to give somebody fits in their respective divisions in the Narrows League.
And Don Clegg and his Wilson Rams last year kind of struggled. They were 2-7. But come into tonight's game looking for their first victory and really playing very impressively against a North Kitsap team that's been pretty highly touted, and obviously so with the likes of Prince at quarterback. They're always going to be in the ball game. And here's Prince rolling, may throw, may run. He's going to fire it down there. Got Sturza at the 10, and he's going to walk into the end zone for a North Kitsap touchdown. That one will cover 30 yards, and Jared Prince once again lights it up. This time a touchdown pass reception to Andy Sturza.
He threaded the needle, and that gives you an example of the pinpoint accuracy that he possesses. The Rams appeared to go for the interception on that play, and it was no contest at the 10.
So the Vikings cap that drive and once again move out on top by a couple of touchdowns as Oddly will come on for the point after, and that one's on the way and through the uprights. And so it's a 2-touchdown ball game once again as Jeff Oddly adds the extra point.
We've got quick strike football here tonight in our final game of touchdown time 2004 in Tacoma. Jared Prince now over 140 yards passing, and we've still got a quarter to go. And he really hasn't opened up. They, I think, have been working on their ground game, establishing it here tonight, and doing a good job of same. You know, if you're going to be a true championship team, you can't be one-dimensional. And I think that North Kitsap may have been tabbed that way going in, but that's a tribute to the abilities of Prince. Now, it looks to me like they're getting a running attack underway, and when that happens, look out.
They are tough indeed when they can split things up a little more equitably between the run and the pass. So last week, Jared Prince had 5 touchdown passes against Bainbridge, but this week he's thrown effectively, certainly, and he's looked very, very impressive. But the Vikings have also been impressive running the football with the likes of Camus and we talked about their other running back in there, Sturza, doing a good job, and Sturza on the receiving end of that one. Here's a kickoff. That one just kind of stubbed into the ground by Otley and taken by the Rams, Mike McClellan.
That was an odd kick, I'll say that. Might be practicing their onside kicks, too.
It looked very close to that. He hit the top tip of that football, and it just bounced up high. Unfortunately, McClellan was alert. A lot of those guys up front on the kick return, sometimes they turn their back to the football real quickly and wait for the deep man to return. Had he turned his back a little quicker that time, it would have gone right by him.
Wilson's got great field position at their own 43, and it didn't take a long return to get there.
First and 10 for the Rams. Jomlin looking to throw, and they're chasing him now. He's going to run the football at the 40 to the sideline, 45, and knocked out of bounds. And a penalty marker down for a late hit.
That's twice now that they've gotten the late hit at that sideline. And is the quarterback okay? I guess he is. Yeah, resilient little guy.
Zach Jomlin back on his feet. Scrambling there to get away from the pressure and made a nice run to get to the sideline as he picked up about 7 yards, and now the penalty will be tacked on, and that's going to be a huge play for the Rams. Will put them deep into Viking territory.
Zach's 140 pounds and 5'7", and he looks every bit of that, Steve. But I'll tell you, he's done a nice job tonight for Wilson.
So the penalty will put it all the way down to the Viking 35-yard line. So again, Wilson coming up with a big play there. And a big play not on the feet of Robert Jackson for a change. This one on a run by the quarterback, Jomlin. Jomlin going to play fake to Jackson and will look to throw. And fires and has a man out there. That's Tongue at the 20-yard line. And check that, not Tongue, but on the reception is Josh Gray who makes the catch out there. Josh Gray with the reception, and that is good for 15 yards and another Wilson first down.
And Prince comes up lame on the play. They don't want to lose him.
Jared Prince limping to the far sidelines, and he's done a good job not only throwing the football tonight, but also doing a good job in pass defending for the Vikings, but he'll have to come out of there at least for now.
There's a lot of apprehension along that North Kitsap sideline right now.
And now the Rams, I believe, are going to take a timeout before they continue here. It will be a Wilson timeout as the Rams have it first down and 10 at the Viking 20-yard line, and maybe a chance, too, for North Kitsap to kind of catch its breath, and we'll see whether or not Jared Prince is going to come back in the game at all.
Quite a contrast in quarterbacks, by the way, though both are elusive. Prince is 6'3", 195 pounds, and the little guy on the other side of the line, Zach Jomlin, is, as I mentioned, 5'7", 140, but they've both been effective, and I have been pretty impressed with the passing ability that Jomlin has shown on the move.
He's done a pretty good job of handling himself in the pocket, and sometimes those little guys can do a pretty effective job at hiding behind those big offensive linemen, too. They're sometimes hard to find back there. But Jomlin has handled himself very well and has thrown it well tonight.
Well, I think offensively both these teams are going to pose a lot of problems for Narrows League opponents. And which one really develops defensively stronger, I think is going to have a real shot in that league, although it's a tough league this year.
Jackson is the single setback on first down for Wilson. And there's the give to Robert Jackson. Going to run it up inside this time, and Sturza is one of the first men there to help rip him down as Jackson spins for about 2 or 3 yards.
Sturza was high, and McClelland, I think it is, who was low. Wait a minute, no, 55 was, but that's not McClelland. That's the wrong team.
That is Jacob Snell who was in on that play.
When you only see these kids once and it's early in the season, you got to be on your toes to get the right team.
Second down from the North Kitsap 17-yard line. Jomlin going to throw the football. Looking in the end zone, has a man out there. Caught, touchdown. Catch made by Derek Tongue. So again, Jomlin with a nice play fake right up the middle. As that play fake going to Jackson, and this time Tongue was wide open up the right side, and Jomlin delivered the football. Tongue took it in right at about the goal line for the 6 points.
He did a good job of concentration there, because that's one that you could easily turn around and look for that end zone, and he did not. He made sure that he had the football. There was pressure coming, but he held on.
And the point after try, this one is blocked. So the point after is no good by Andrew Pudist, and that could be a very important missed point after, as it is 28-20 now. North Kitsap on top. We have 10 minutes and 12 seconds left to play.
Credit Andy Sturza with the block on that play. He's been all over the field tonight. But, you know, Steve, we can have a lot happen in 10-12, and it's 28-20 already.
Well, I think both these teams, they're to be commended tonight, because both these teams have come out with their A game tonight, and they played very well.
They're certainly putting on a show. Let's state it that way. I've really enjoyed the 2 nights of football here in the Dome. First of all, it can't be any more comfortable. Secondly, it's great viewing because of the sight lines here and the proximity to the field. And thirdly, the kids on all 8 teams have been gallant in their efforts, and it's just been an outstanding show.
Good performances. The kids, obviously, they want to play well when they're in a nice venue like this, too. It's great for the fans who've come here to view these games both nights. It's been a great 2 nights. It's this entire event. Here's the kickoff. And it'll come down to Tobin at his own 5-yard line up the right side to the 20. 25 breaks the tackle there, still spinning, and finally dropped as he crosses the 30-yard line is Travis Tobin.
And that's McClelland on that tackle, along with, well, they didn't give me number 3. Did you get one?
I didn't get a number 3 either.
Well, number 3 got his man.
And the good news for North Kitsap is that Jared Prince is okay, and he's back in there at quarterback now to lead the way for the Vikings.
There's a big sigh of relief collectively for North Kitsap fans down below. They can ill afford to lose their outstanding leader.
And there's the give out the right side to Sturza. Breaks it to the corner, gets to the 35 and up near the 40-yard line. Andy Sturza very close to a first down. Brought down on the play by Corey Mason of Wilson after about a 9-yard pickup. And it'll be a 2nd down and 1. 9:50 left to go in this game. North Kitsap leading it. A good contest, 28-20.
This reminds me a little bit of the Fife Evergreen game of last night that finished 29-27, and a 2-point conversion was the difference in that one.
We may be headed for another nail biter right at the end here tonight. Henry, who caught a touchdown pass earlier tonight, comes to the near side. And Tobin is out wide to the right. Prince backs up from center and barks out a couple audibles, and now takes a snap and pitches to Sturza around the left-hand side. He lost the football. It comes off to one of his teammates there, who takes it another couple of yards up to midfield. The ball is squirted out of Sturza's hands, caught by Jeff Ottley, and Ottley just takes it forward to midfield. That's the strangest first down you'll ever see.
That would fit under the old saying, that's the way the ball bounces, right?
And Sturza had that one just pop straight up in the air. The Vikings very fortunate to have one of their teammates haul it in alertly.
He was the only white shirt there, by the way. Had a Ram had it, it was off to the races.
Would have been going the other way. Instead, it's Viking football on a first down right at midfield. Here's Sturza again on the carry. He's going to try and break it around the corner this time, but the Rams are not going to let him do it. They wrap him up and drop him. He finally does squirm back near the line of scrimmage. So Jeremy Stojakovic was the first Wilson defender there to help wrap him up. And Sturza ends up finally with no gain on the play.
Anthony Wiggins was helping out there. In fact, there were a lot of red shirts helping out, and he didn't go down easy.
A 2nd down and 10. Rams trying to get tough defensively, get the football back. They're still in this ball game. They need a score and a 2-point conversion to get into a tie ball game with 8.5 minutes left to play. Here's the give on the reverse to Tobin, going left to right, and this time the Rams are right there waiting for him.
Well, that was good for a touchdown earlier, but not that time, as you see number 8 of the Wilson Rams, Justin Bush.
Got a North Kitsap player down on the far side, and that looks like it's Tobin this time who is being attended to. It gives both teams the chance to kind of catch their collective breaths here as the clubs kneeling on either side and taking their helmets off to catch a breath.
He might have had the wind knocked out of him when he hit the turf there. I see him getting some relief from the shoulder pads tight fit and trying to get some air.
Travis Tobin, who caught a couple of touchdown passes last week and is a big part of the receiving corps catching those passes from Jared Prince.
Steve, I'd like to take a moment and thank you for coming out and doing this game tonight on behalf of the Touchdown Time Committee. It's been a great a joy for us again to see you behind that microphone where you belong. And with 8:20 to go in the game, it's been fun working with you.
Thank you, Doug. And believe me, my pleasure. anytime we get an opportunity to work with you again, it's to my benefit, and I've really enjoyed it. It's been a fun ball game.
The good news is that he's up and apparently going to be okay on the play.
So Tobin will go to the sidelines, at least for the moment anyway. And Henry is back in there as one of the wide receivers for North Kitsap. It's going to be 3rd down and 8 for the Vikings as they roll the clock with 8 minutes and 15 seconds to go.
I didn't mean to talk like it's over because I know there's a lot going to happen here.
There's a ways to go, and we got some good football left. Here's Prince, the quick snap, goes to Henry. Henry makes the catch, gets by a tackler, and powers it inside the 45 to about the 42-yard line. Brought down on the play there by the Rams, Jeremy Stojakovic. Going to be just a little bit short of a first down at the 42-yard line, so it's going to be 4th and 2. And again, an interesting down to ponder here for the Vikings.
Calvin James actually had the first contact there and couldn't hang on, but he was really alert on the play, and he was being blocked as he was trying to make the tackle. And it was a good effort on both sides of the ball that time.
And the Vikings will go on 4th down and 2. Sturza is the single setback. Prince going to fake to Sturza, going to roll to his right. He may run for it. Prince will inside the 40 and puts his head down and flies down to about the 35-yard line. Jared Prince keeping the football, gaining 7 yards and a first down.
They never said much about his running ability. I'll tell you, for a guy who just got hurt and he saw that yardage ahead of him, he's a tough runner.
Yeah, you got to like not only his arm but also his ability to move around in the pocket. He does show quick feet.
Justin Bush was the Wilson tackler on the play, but not before the Vikings pick up a first down. We've seen a lot of offense here.
And for the Vikings, more good news as Travis Tobin is back into the game after missing a couple of plays. Here's Prince with all kinds of time. Going to fire the bomb, and that one slipped out of his hands. It's going to be intercepted. The Rams come up with a turnover. Is making the catch down there is Corey Mason. That ball just simply slipped off the hands of Jared Prince. He kind of lost the handle on it and went about half the way he intended it to go as far as his target.
Jordan Henry didn't have a man around him. There wasn't anybody within 15 yards, and I was watching him, not in the world expecting that the quarterback wouldn't deliver it as effective as he has. But those things happen.
Strange things happen, and that one got away from Jared Prince, and the Rams take advantage on Mason's interception. And now Wilson has the football. They're down by a touchdown and a 2-point conversion with 6 minutes and 37 seconds left to play. Here's Jomlin going to give it to Jackson off the right side. He's going to try and break it to the corner and does break one tackle, gets to about the 15 and then is wrapped up and dropped.
You know, that was a lot of running there for just 5 yards.
He makes it exciting. Gerald Smith made the tackle for the Vikings, and it's going to be 2nd down and about 8.
We kind of want to remind you that we've got these commemorative T-shirts. They're one of a kind.
So Jomlin and the Rams right here trying to keep this drive going, keep things moving. Josh Gray will split out wide to the left. They go to those I backs once again. And there's the give to Congdon, and he's going to pound it right up the middle, and he's got big yardage across the 25 up to the 27-yard line. That'll be a first down. And a pickup of 12 yards on the carry. Andrew Congdon.
Ray Quintano was the man at the bottom of the stack. He's wearing number 46 on your screen. You know, Wilson's got North Kitsap so wide conscious right now because of the speed that play right up the middle did work very effectively. And Condon's a hard runner. He doesn't flash the great speed that perhaps Jackson does to the outside, but he's a tough customer through the middle.
Jomlin with running room to his left. Giving on the reverse to James, who finds an avenue up the middle to the 35, up near the 40-yard line. Finally, Jared Prince made the tackle on Calvin James. Again, that's that little receiver or slot back around play. And almost a hesitation by James, and then he took off down the middle and picks up another first down.
You know, I don't think that was a hesitation. I think that was a little bit of a mix-up, and they came close to losing ground there, but that shows you the ability of James because he shifted it into high gear in a hurry.
First and 10, Wilson at their own 40-yard line now. Jomlin will give to Jackson. He'll take it to his left. And lost the handle on the football. It's recovered by Jared Prince, and the Vikings have it on the turnover as Jackson coughs that one up, and Jared Prince recovers for North Kitsap.
I've been amazed at Jared Prince. All you hear about him is as a quarterback, he's a tough defensive football player.
He really is, and a very alert play there as that one squirted away from Jackson. And that gives North Kitsap the football, and right away the Vikings are going to take a quick timeout here with 4:44 left to go in the game. Boy, that really snuffed out what was a very good Wilson drive when the Rams were looking at maybe getting the equalizer here late in this fourth quarter.
You don't suppose that some college is going to give him a scholarship to play defensive back, do you?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I can't remember John Elway playing defense too many times at Stanford or with the Denver Broncos for that matter.
Ironically, you know, John Elway came within a whisker of playing his high school football in the state of Washington rather than California, because Jack Elway spent most of his coaching life here in the Northwest and is still a legend up at Port Angeles.
Yep.
But John was a good one. Well, it'll be interesting to watch Jared Prince in the years ahead. He's got the makings, there's no question about it. This is an entertaining game. I'll tell you, when either one of these teams has the football, there's no telling what's going to happen next.
Got to keep an eye on both these teams offensively because they can really strike very quickly. They've got some tools out there, some fine athletes, and the ability to put points on the board just like that. Jared Prince and company trying to take control and take home a first victory of the season as they lead it by 8 now. The football at the Wilson 46. Here's the give up the middle. That's Sturza. And Sturza pounds it down to about the 36-yard line. He's going to be close to another Viking first down as he's got about 10. Making the tackle, Andrew Congdon for Wilson.
Down to the 36-yard line.
And I think they're going to bring out the chains and have a look at this one maybe to see whether it's close enough for a first down.
North Kitsap's been a little more conservative than I thought they'd be, but I think that they've been really working to develop the other part of their attack here tonight. They know Prince can throw. They want to see what else they've got, and they've shown people. They're not one-dimensional for sure.
Yeah, they stretch out the chains. Yeah, let's see. Be close enough, very close.
Old Darren Nelson's had his work cut out for him tonight, hasn't he?
He has indeed.
He's got to get down there close. Yeah, about a foot.
Yep. A little less than the length of a football there, and that'll be second down for North Kitsap. They want to hang on to the ball and hang on to the lead right here with 4:10 left to go in the game.
Second ago, Travis Tobin was talking to his quarterback, so we'll see what they've got up their sleeve. About the time you think they're going to stay on the ground, bingo, they go upstairs for 6.
This could be a down that they would do it with second down in inches. They might go for the long ball here and save the short yardage play for third down. Looks like they finally got everything. Aaron Nelson's got them all lined up with a chain crew and everybody all set to go on the far sidelines, and we're back to play now. Again, a big play moment ago as Jackson lost control of the football. And Jared Prince recovered from North Kitsap after the Rams had been moving effectively, running the ball, and trailing by just, a touchdown and a 2-point conversion here. We still have 4:10 left to play in this one.
The officials are looking up here, and I think they want to put something back on the clock. Yeah, they do. We just got 15 more seconds. Steve, that's time for 2 more touchdowns.
There you go. And now they ran it back to 4:25, and now they've run it down to 4:20, so we picked up 10 seconds altogether, and I think we're finally ready to go now.
That's not new math, is it, Steve?
They start counting that clock down, but we're adding to it here.
Yep.
And Jerry Parrish had a chance to visit there with Jared Prince on the far sideline while all that was going on. And here are the Vikings on second down and short now.
What's the call, Coach?
Well, Sturza's the running back, but I kind of like your call of maybe going for the deep play here instead of the short yardage play.
How about a 5-yard penalty?
They didn't have to do either one, as it turns out, as Prince has apparently drawn them off sides, and that will give the Vikings a first down via the penalty.
Well, they knew Wilson was going to be eager to stop the play, and I think Prince did a nice job with that count.
He really did, and Wilson will back up 5 yards and a first down for North Kitsap at the at the Ram 31-yard line. So Prince and company with a fresh set of downs, and the clock rolls with 3:45 left to play. Again, they're in that 4 wide receiver set. Prince looks it over, and now he's up under center. And again, he had some defensive linemen jumping around, and that may have come off for a second straight play. They have drawn one of those Wilson red-shirted defenders across the line of scrimmage. And Darren Nelson says, yes, it happened again. Offside Wilson.
6 more of those, and it'll be an easy score.
Well, they do stop the clock momentarily, but backing up 5 yards at a crack. First down and 5 now for the Vikings.
5-yard penalty repeats first down, 1st and 5.
Prince kind of takes a step away from the line of scrimmage, a couple 3 yards back to look at that defense for a moment, and then he kind of sizes things up, letting the clock wind down a bit.
He's looking at a 3-6 alignment there.
And then finally will step up under center when he feels the time is getting very close. Takes a snap now, gives to Sturza, who breaks a tackle and gets a yard or two, and that's about it. He stood up and dropped. Sergio Beltran was in on the tackle defensively for Wilson.
Would you say that Prince is in control right now?
Well, he really looks composed, very poised, and knows that at this point in the football game, the clock is his real ally, and working on that clock now with 2:45 left to go. Second down and about 3 yards to go for the Vikings from inside the Wilson 24. Prince will roll to his left this time, and he's going to run the ball to the 20. Prince to the 15. Boy, he's got speed to the 10 and down near the 5-yard line before he's knocked out of bounds. And again, showing elusiveness and an ability to get to the corner.
And guess who got him? Robert Jackson on the other side of the ball.
Might be the only guy out there that could catch him getting around the corner, and Jackson did knock him out, but a nice run by Jared Prince all the way down to the 5-yard line.
Well, you know, you hear about kids, and we've heard for quite some time about Prince the passer, but Prince is a complete quarterback on what I've seen tonight.
He really has thrown the football well, but also made some excellent runs, keeping the ball himself, and leading what has been a pretty balanced North Kitsap offense tonight between the run and pass. First and goal here for the Vikings. Sturza, the single setback. And Sturza gets the carry, right up inside. He's going to get a yard or two. Pretty well shut down by the Rams. Mike McClellan and company there as they help Sturza to his feet.
Richard Anderson for Wilson also at the bottom of that stack. He's a 6'2", 270-pound sophomore.
And as they do that,
the Rams do have some really nice athletes, especially on the interior lines, and of course with the speed like a guy of the talents of Jackson to the outside really makes for a nice threat both offensively and defensively. And a timeout here with 2:13 left to go in the